Thank you for that. I'd like to ask Tony Romany from Cisco to come up. Tony's the Cloud Business Development Lead. Do we have Tony, by the way, before I get to... Oh, sorry. I hope. As a Cisco Business Development Lead in Canada, Tony is responsible for service creation and sales support for Cisco's current and future cloud, and he's come to talk to us today about a little bit more about the cloud from yesterday. So, Tony.
Great. Thank you. Thanks. Just quickly, I've been in the telecom IT space for about 25 years. Started in Bell Canada, of all places, way back when. I think my first job was a manager on the network side, working with step-by-step machines. So that's kind of where I've come from. Most of my time has been in the service provider space, everything from Bell Canada to Metronet to AT&T. But over the last 7 years, I've been working with Cisco. And what my role in Cisco has been really was to try to grow managed services with our partners, and now we're trying to see how we can develop cloud with our partners. And cloud is kind of is a new buzzword, I know, but it is actually showing some great growth. This is a slide I like to put up in terms of what we're seeing when we talk about cloud. A lot of times people are a little concerned about what cloud is. Everyone hears the buzzword, everybody wants to participate, but not everyone knows how to get into the game. So we spend some time with our partners talking about what that looks like, and it's partners of all sizes, not just the big guys. It's all the way down the stack to include everybody. We have all kinds of solutions that we offer for those partners from all sizes. I just want to talk to you about a little bit about how our approach is. I'll talk a little bit about a service offering. We've just launched a new product. And then we'll get into some other discussions around what we do for our smaller partners and what that looks like. Okay. So the growth we've seen in the cloud is no surprise to me anyway, because we've been talking about this for years in terms of how the cloud is going to take off and how it's going to grow. And we're starting to see those numbers now really take off. We're starting to see a lot of people talk about the cloud. A lot of people don't realize that they run applications in the cloud, but we're seeing more and more of that. What's interesting to me is when you talk to business customers, so our Cisco business customers, for the first time they're actually trying to talk to our IT partners because they realize that when they run their applications, it relies on the IT team. And the IT team now is for the first time saying, okay, well, if I want to run those applications for my lines of business to make money, they're now saying the network needs to be involved. They're no longer kind of three silos, lines of business, IT, network. It's all one. So we're starting to see a lot more talk around applications and what that means to the IT businesses, and more importantly, what that means to the network. When we talk to our partners, and we talk to them, like I said, from all sizes, all shapes and sizes, they all want to get in the game, but they all don't know how to get there. So we take what we call a domain 10 approach. This is our approach on how we talk to customers so they can figure out A, what they have, B, what they need to build, or C, what they need to build on. So this is how we kind of approach our partners when we talk to them about what a cloud solution would look like and how they play in that space. We start with the infrastructure. Compute storage network. That is our a core offering that, what I say thou shalt have before you go any further. So that's how you grow. You build kind of that infrastructure. Hand in hand with that is virtualization. So we want to make sure that they built that kind of core infrastructure, and then they put on top of that some virtualization. And that typically will define your infrastructure service solution. The challenge we have is a lot of partners stop there. They say, okay, now I have kind of the core pieces in place, I'm done. Well, not the case. What you need to make sure you have with that infrastructure some automation and orchestration around that. Otherwise, you don't get the benefits of cloud that people are looking for. Cloud is all about making sure you have things like elasticity, scalability, on demand. If you don't have the automation orchestration around that, then you lose all of that. So although you may have that first piece, you need to make sure you also are doing things like automation, orchestration, and then things like customer interface, service cataloging, and financing and tracking. That will all help you build out what I consider your infrastructure service, and that's the core. That is the basics that you need to kind of get into to play the game. And we spent a lot of time over the last 18 months working with partners building that out, and then they always say to us, well, what's next? I mean, that's great, we have that, we're selling that, customers are asking for that, but there's more than just that if you want to kind of have more return on investment, more TCO. So when we talk about infrastructure service, that's kind of one piece of the cloud that we spend a lot of time in. But now we're working around things like, okay, so what does our platform look like? And we get in discussions around platform as a service. And then more importantly, we talk about what are the applications and what applications can we sell and what does that look like. And that's when you get into your true software as a service solution. And right now, if you look at any reports, IDC, Gartner, they're saying that's where the big spend is. That's where the big money is coming from, is software as a service. But you do need to have kind of that infrastructure at the bottom to grow up into software as a service. So this is a discussion we have around to partners around what that looks like. Now, when you talk cloud, cloud is a disruptor. It's a new model. It's a new way of thinking. And what that means to our partners is they need to think about how they're going to operate a little differently. It's not the same old, same old. You need to consider things like security, risk, security, of course, wrapped around everything. But then you have to talk about your organization and your processes and what that's going to look like. So we spend a lot of time with partners saying, listen, we're not here to solve everything, but these are things you need to consider. And if we don't have it, you need to go outside and look for that help. You need to look internally at what that's going to look like. Because if you're going to build a true cloud solution, you're going to change the way you operate and the way you do business today, because cloud is actually a disruptor, and it's changing. And to be honest with you, it is not just for the big guys, it's for everybody. Everyone needs to figure out how they're going to play in this space, because this is where the applications are driving to. This is where you need to play. I just want to talk to you quickly about something we've just released. It was announced kind of last week publicly in New York. John Chambers went up and talked. And it's about what we call application-centric infrastructure. I'm going to try to call it ACI moving forward, because that's a long word for me to pronounce over and over again. This is something that we launched last week with John Chambers, and it stems on the fact that we're trying to evolve a little more past what I call software-defined networking, because the challenge with software-defined networking, although it's great, it creates an additional layer. ACI is going to try to kind of combine that so that we kind of squish that down and we allow the benefits of what we're really trying to get after, which are things like agility, speed to market, delivery, scalability, and of course visibility. So these are things we're trying to drive and get that application agility into people's networks. A little stat here, it said that we did with business respondents from Information Week magazine. 76% of business respondents said the number one reason for employing SDN was to speed their ability to get more agile in delivering services to their various businesses. Basically what they're saying is they need it faster, they need it quicker, and they need to make sure that it's getting time to market. One thing we've found in dealing with cloud with our partners is they're creating what they call shadow IT. So lines of businesses are realizing that in their own IT departments, they can't get what they need quicker. So they're actually going out and getting cloud solutions and paying with their credit cards, because they can do it a lot quicker. IT departments are realizing this and realize, you know what, we need to bring more of this in-house. And the IT department, the only way they're going to be successful doing that is to make sure that their network is ready. And their network needs to be ready for applications and ready to do it quicker and faster. So when we talk about ACI, and the benefits, it is built to build benefits from all the way from CEOs and CIOs all the way down to lines of businesses. CEOs want to have kind of that lower TCO. They want to have that business agility. They want to kind of get, what I say, time to revenue faster. That's what they want. Lines of business need the flexibility to make that happen. If they have an idea today, they want to execute it today. They don't want to wait 18 or 24 months. In a previous role I had, we worked with the IT team. We would go to NPIs, and they would say, your IT budget is somewhere between plus or minus 25%. And I would say, why are you telling me it's minus 25%? It's always plus 25%. It's always plus 18 months. So don't give me plus or minus. It's always plus. And that's what lines of business get really frustrated about is, I don't want that variable. I want it sooner, and I want it quicker, and I want to make sure I can change on a dime. And that's what application-centric infrastructures are going to do for networks, is allow network providers to actually provide those a lot quicker to meet the application demands we're seeing. So what's it based on? At the very high end, it's really based on our new Nexus 9000 series switches. It is allowing them to kind of be put into networks and actually operate more like a physical and virtual network together. And it leverages a new device called the Application Policy Infrastructure Controller. Basically what this does, it can manage up to 1 million endpoints at once. And it operates all within an industry-leading ecosystem. So we're all about making sure that we are an open standards approach, but it allows us to do things like make sure we're cost optimizing, future-proofing networks, creating what I call profiles for applications. So, much like when we launched UCS, we have a profile for compute. With ACI, we're actually creating a profile for each application. So we put on applications things like quality of service, SLAs, security is all tied to an application. So it becomes very focused on how you change that application. And we create around what that looks like. Inherent to that is our ability then to say, okay, so what does that look like when we want to do things like troubleshooting, when we want to do things like reporting? It all has full visibility within that. So it's a really slick product. I encourage you to learn more about it. Like I said, it was just announced last week. So there's a lot more information coming out, but I want to tell you kind of up front, it is something that's very exciting and going to kind of change what we think we're doing. It's essentially, think of it as kind of any application, anywhere, with full visibility. That's kind of what we were after with the service offering, and we think we've kind of met that. And again, it's all based on an open-centered approach. It's kind of what we do, is to make sure that we kind of involve more people than not in our open infrastructure. Some quotes from when this was launched. Network Computing said, Cisco is offering a smooth transition from physical to cloud networking. So that's all what we're about. You know, the industry is seeing that it's all about making sure that there's kind of more cooperation within the application. And Cohen stated saying, we view ACI as a positive game changer that redefines networking. So we're playing that game, we're driving that, and that's what ACI is going to actually do for us. Now, I spent a lot of time talking about what ACI and how it is. My point here is when we talk networking and we talk IT and we talk lines of business, we need to start talking applications because application is driving business in the cloud. And when we talk about a cloud, when we talk about at the forefront of what that looks like, it's all about applications making that happen. It's all about what do applications do for me. So that's why I'm kind of focusing on, you know, we've termed it correctly, but it's all about making sure that we know what the application is, we know how it's affecting our IT department, and then we know how it's defining the network. And that's what this is all about, is making sure that you understand that it's the application that we're trying to fix. This was done, a little study we did with IT decision makers over the last year. It was with 13 countries and about 1,300 to 1,500 IT folks. We asked them the question, what are you up against? What are your challenges? And this one is one that kind of struck me, is that 78% see the network as more critical for delivering business applications than they did just 1 year ago. So the IT teams are getting it. They're starting to see that applications are driving the network. And yet the same folks say to us that when we do those applications, it's actually impacted by network performance. So they care about what the network is doing with their IT applications. So it's imperative and important to us that we understand how they tie together and how we can make it easier for both the IT teams and ultimately the lines of business. Now, I'm not sure if any of you had time to kind of stop by the Cisco suite there, but I mentioned earlier, we don't talk just about you know, the big guys. We work with everyone at every level. And you know, we have a team in that suite to talk about. We have all kinds of different solutions and services to enable the cloud. So that bottom part about infrastructure, about compute storage and networking. There's also data center solutions we have. We bundle all those. We have pay as you grow. We understand that everyone's big and there's some financing options. We do all that. So I encourage you to go talk to those folks about what that looks like. And we can help you kind of craft those DC and cloud solutions to be more successful. And it's all about making sure we future-proof. If you're architecting a data center or you want to re-architect it, we do all that for you as well. And we can help you start from anywhere you want to grow or anywhere you want to kind of grow from, all based on an open architecture. Okay. Now, I'm also kind of ahead of time, so if there are any questions you have specifically around Cisco and what we're doing, kind of happy to field those now for you.
Any questions? Or?
I know everyone loves what we're doing, so feel free to ask.
Questions? It's getting late there. Go. Seeing none.
Is everyone kind of deploying? Do you get cloud? Everyone's nodding, saying, yeah, cloud is what we're doing? Like, if you have questions, like I said, you don't have to ask them now. We can certainly talk to you in the suite about that, or just reach out to your account rep and we can help you with that.
I was going to say, Tony, you'll be around for the rest of the day, at least, in the Cisco suite, which if you haven't visited that, it's one of the lovely suites, so please take a few minutes. It is to visit it, but let's thank Tony for his presentation then. Thanks.
Thank you.